All right, welcome everyone to Community Lighthours. My name is Susanne Conrad. I'm the founder of Lightyear Leadership, and this is the first in a three-part series on the future of work. Today is May 5th, 2022, and it's a great day to be alive, isn't it? Oh my goodness, I love the month of May. I just as a check-in and a clearing, which is something that we do as a protocol on our team in Lightyear, is we check in with each other and we clear if anything is distracting us. So that's something that will become the future of work, our new methods for leading teams. But so my check-in is, I just got to go see beautiful gardens and take my almost 90-year-old mother on a tour with me in the morning. And my clearing is that we're 1.5 days away from hosting the world's Ironman here in my tiny town of St. George. The seams of this little Utah town are busting with world-class athletes that are figuring out their electrolytes as the wind picks up and the sun grows high. And I will be feeding some of those people right after this call. So that's my clearing. I now release that and I'm fully in the now here with you. So let me begin with that. So I'll tell you some of your buzz headlines. The future of work is the future. The future of work is the future. It's about putting the future first. So let's go all the way to an Indigenous perspective that many of you are aware of through your trainings and development, that it's about the next 7 generations. So the future of work is caring about our ancestors, our descendants, and knowing that we are already someone's ancestor. We're not the people that crisp the planet out and leave a little dust of ash to circle the sun. We're the people who learn and solve and create and innovate. So the future of work is the future, all the way to there. And just to keep it funny, I had my really good friend, Scott Elliott, here with me last weekend. And he's the director of the Dr. Peter Center, which is a very innovative organization that deals with harm reduction. And they are the knowledge center for harm reduction practices across Canada. And he said, yeah, Susanne, I'm working to clear my anti-visions. So I'll make sure that I talk to you about anti-visions with my uncle visions, which I just thought was so cute. So part of what we're going to talk about today are how to create a vision, how to work from a vision and live from the future. So before we do that, let me just share with you a bit. We record these. I'll talk for a while. Those of you that would love to talk for a while also may. And we put them on YouTube. So that's our disclaimer. So if there's something deeply personal that you don't want to share, just know that this is being recorded, so don't share it. And this is for someone else's future. There could be an insight that you have, that I have, that changes the course of someone's career. And so why be stingy when you can contribute? Okay. So here's the first part that we're going to talk about. So Lightyear Leadership, that's the organization that I founded. And if you're new to Lightyear, it's essentially similar in a way to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has been around a while. It's now, become a public company, and then I think Microsoft bought it, whatever. I don't pay attention to all that stuff too much. But LinkedIn is about who you've been and finding a job from who you've been, which is valid. Those are our credentials, our education, our experiences, our wisdom, all of those things. And I'll talk about the value of that in a moment. What Lightyear is it provides a digital platform that's private, non-advertised, where people can become members, where it's all about who you're becoming. So Lightyear Leadership is all about who you are becoming. So just so you can have a snapshot of that before we dive into the content, let me just share my screen and share with you a little bit of my profile. So people that are already Lightyear coaches, members, people that are understanding what we do, everyone on Lightyear gets to build a profile. So here you see a photo, you see my legacy statement. This is what I turn to when I'm steering moment to moment about what I want my life to be about. So you can see something I'm bringing forward from my father is my gift of the gab. Expresses my devotion to creation and to this earth. And then I have a vision statement that actually begins with my commitment to the restoration of the Earth's temperature, which seems like a big thing to say, but that's part of my vision. And it helps guide my actions and choices day to day. And then you'll also see that I have a set of personal goals and health goals and career goals and practices that all stem from my vision. So let's just all come back together. I like to stay in gallery view to see things, but that's what Lightyear is. Lightyear is a space, a digital space that allows people to express who they're becoming. I believe that the future of work is the future. So let me just share a little bit about what that might look like for you. So work is not just what we do for our salary. And remember, salary comes from the word salt, salt of the earth. Roman soldiers used to be paid in salt. So just keep it real, folks. We have transformed the world. It's getting to be a pretty interesting place. And it's not quite as rough as it used to be. But so work could be what you do to earn money. Work could be what you do to elevate your community. Work could be what you do to care for a family member, for instance, instead of having them in an institution. And you could be contributing a level of wealth and measure into a larger collective in that way. So in this conversation, I don't want to limit work to just the definition of a specific career, yet I do want to focus on that because many of you are either in the position where you're looking at changing your career, understanding how to share with a prospective employer or prospective client why vision is important, why it's important to you, and why it might be important to them. So let me just lay that all down first for you. So I have the distinct experience and privilege to already be a person who has directly experimented with the future of work for easily 30 years. The things that I've known to do, maybe because I've had the correct teachers, maybe I've had the correct opportunities with the progressive companies that I've gotten to work for and bring the Lightyear curriculum to, I've had the opportunity to already know what's likely to be right in front of you now. And we're going to talk about those things. And we're also in the next two sections going to be talking about the future of the future. But so right now, the future of work it's been really punctuated by COVID, because in Lightyear, we talk about how light, you guys, I'm going to talk for a while. Okay. I got a lot of things I want to tell you. So Lightyear is both a particle and a wave. So remember that from middle school science class, you're like, whoa, it's particle and wave. What does that mean? So let's see. I'm going to look at, I'm going to look here at Rachel Bubb. So she's physically in Southern California. Her particle has this fantastic career and opportunity, expanding wealth management for many people. And the wave, Rachel Bubb, is what communicates through the phone, through Zoom. It's the part of her that on a recording contributes to the person in the future. It's the photograph. So do you guys see the difference? There's a particle that's in a specific coordinate on the planet. And then there's the wave that's all the expressions of who you are, even beyond your physical life. Kind of cool, right? So in Lightyear, we've been teaching that from the very beginning. When I work with executives in large companies, and this is way before COVID, I said, learn how to love and contribute to people through a camera. Learn how to do that on video. And I learned that indirectly because my mom was a romper room teacher. So she taught children through the television. And all of us have been on the other receiving side of waves, but now we're all learning how to emit them. Many of you are doing your interviews through Zoom, or touching a client or a future client through a wave technology. And the other great thing, now, so that's the wave side. Now I'm going to swing over here and say, I hope you're having fun. We have a cool thing. We have this little plane that my husband flies me around in, and it's called November 7-7 Lima Yankee. If you ever want to know where we are in the world, you can actually track us. You can even track famous people by knowing their tail number. But one of the things that's awesome about that plane, and when you do the security check-in for the passengers, is you show people where the hammer is in case you have to break a window to get out. I'm telling you that the future of work is the future, and all of you need to get your own little hammer and break your COVID snow globe. I would love to see all of you saying, you know what? I want to go meet some people in person. You know, if you're getting interviewed for a job and you love the job, get your patootie. I wanted to say something that started with an A, but we're going to keep it PG-13 for session 1. Get your patootie on a plane and go visit that company. Meet those people and you interview them. Because when you work for someone, you trade your life energy, and never undervalue it. Because the people that value their life energy are the people I want to be around. I want to be around the people that want to make a difference, that want to move the world forward. So get that little hammer out, break your snow globe, and go meet the people and places that you maybe have forgotten about a little bit. Now, I'm going to shout at a couple people. I'm just going to shout at people that are listening to the recording. I'm checking to see if people here know this. Some of you that are newer to Lightyear might not know this, that I love shout. It's a way that I express myself. I got to tell you, some of you during these 2 years, March, April, May, 2 years and 3 months, some of you have forgotten how to be a particle. I want you to remember, it means go get coffee, set up time with people, go to a physical place, make a plan. Like I took my mom and took her to gardens and met people and hugged people and talked to them and found out who they were. So some of you, for the future of work, if you're looking at a new career, please remember that it's not all digital. It's also physical. Sharni, you may just need to fly here. Who knows? I said that to make you laugh. You know, you come. See, and something else will happen there, and it doesn't negate the other, because you know what? They don't replace each other. The wave and the particle complement. So the future of work will include you developing your mastery at knowing when to use what modality and how to integrate them. So that's point number 1. Now, let's go to the content that I want to share with you. So in Lightyear, we talk about how the difference between how we set goals and how most folks set goals. So I am plugged in to headphones, so I don't want to get too physical here. But what most people do is they put on their backpack of their burdens, their worries, their time constraints, their financial constraints, their wisdom constraints, their educational constraints, all the things that weigh them down. And then they say, oh, well, somebody told me I should set some goals. It's probably a good idea. And so then they attempt to get from here to there with this heavy constrained backpack. And they might maybe get a 6-month goal done, but many people fail and don't have the tools to know how to deal with failure. They don't have the tools to know how to deal with a take 2, and they don't know how to take the backpack off completely and come from here. This new here, we're going to call there. So this is here and this is there. This is a future. This is a vision. 10 years in the future, 5 years in the future, where you're not constrained. So instead of here, most people set goals and, well, maybe on a good day, I could save $100, or maybe I can get this kind of job. Instead of leaping to an unconstrained future and remember their future, there to get there now. That's the title of my book. If you want to learn more about the get there now process, read the book. It's the last chapter, and you could read the book backwards and then find out where I was born. That could be fun. Anyway, so there is really where the answers are. And most people don't access there because they haven't been told to. Okay. Now, the great thing about there is there you could already have the marriage you want. There, you could already have the home you want. There, you could already have the financial freedom that you want. There, you could already have the skills that you know you need. Let me tell you some of the skills you need. I'm going to just talk to you. And lots of you here are learning them. You need the skills, as I said earlier, to be able to fail forward, to be able to learn and experiment. So the future of work is learning. You fill in the blank. The future of work is, maybe put some of it there in the chat. The future of work is what? The future of the work is the future. The future of work is learning. The future of work is being able to go to a prospective employer and say, this is my vision and these are my goals. What's your vision? What are your goals? Do they intersect? Now, some of you might go, oh my God, that's such a huge leap. And yet that's what we at Lightyear have been doing now for decades. Now, of course, the market has been going up and down and doing different things. And the whole life is not defined by stretchy black pants. Yet where most people know me and the credibility of my curriculum is from being the director of possibility for Lululemon Athletica and being on their board of directors. So even as early as 1998, every young person or middle-aged or older person, I don't want to limit it to age, that worked for that company, now this may not still be true, created a 10-year vision and worked backwards from that and shared it with everybody they knew. It was not a private act, it was a public act. And this starts to give us one of the skills that we want, which is to tell the truth about what we want and be willing to do what there is to do to have what we want. Most of the work, you guys, I don't really want to have to spend too much time talking about this, but if I don't, there's part of your self that won't take me seriously. We are still, now I'm 61, almost 62, we are still the generation, leading the generation out of the shadows of slavery, even as white people. Okay, I'm just going to talk to you about what you need to understand, because if it isn't literal slavery, it's another kind of mental slavery. You know, the reggae guys were right. To free our mind from mental slavery, there's a way where there's so much programming around work that comes from fiefdoms, comes from salaries in the Roman army, comes from slavery, that we need to release those old beliefs about what work looks like and what it's like to be an employee, and let them go and stand in this new future where work might feel very different. So now my third point, so my first one is that the future of work is the future. And the second thing is that you want to be able to set the future, not from here, but from there. And the third thing that I want to say is that there you have new skills. When I coach people, I often tell them, you know, in your vision, you're going to have a career that doesn't exist today. This is the mistake that most universities make. They attempt to have a vocational school that, or a vocational spin on things, or even a theoretical spin in their master's and PhD programs that are to fit people in something that already exists, instead of looking to see, if we created this, what would that be like? Now, I want to share with you, one of my favorite organizations is the Rocky Mountain Institute. They're celebrating 40 years as one of the foundational applied research organizations that are out to transform global energy. And this is their purpose statement: to transform the global energy system to secure a clean, prosperous, zero carbon future for all. And from that vision, from that purpose statement, they have very specific goals that they engage other people in, such as exactly what they believe needs to happen in terms of reduction of temperature of the earth. Now, I'm not going to go into all the science of that, but I want you all to know that the future of work has to do with coming from purpose, with coming from your vision. And if you're a coach, helping people have that first before they trickle backwards to set their goals, because otherwise they will set their goals from their constraints, their beliefs, and the things that weigh them down. Okay. So now I've spent my whole life practically teaching this. And now finally people are going, oh yeah, that'd be a good idea. So you also have to have the skill. They put this in some of the wisdom traditions, and the first shall be last and the last shall be first. So you've got to also be the kind of person that when people say, yeah, I'm not saying this about Hunter, but I'm just going to use it as a kid saying this to you. Oh yeah, mom, I learned that if I set a future vision and then work backwards, that'd be really great for my career. You just have to go, oh, neat. I've never heard of that. You see, that's what it's going to be like. That's what it's been like for me. I'm like, and I'm going to tell you, I have to tell you a couple more things about the importance of this, and then we're going to all talk. So the other thing that's important about creating a vision and a set of goals the way we do on Lightyear Leadership, can you imagine what that means for leading a team? If a person can actually say, I want to have a third baby. I want to have an income where I can buy a home. It lets you as a team member or as an employer understand the dynamics of what that person needs to go through to either develop that ability to take that time away or to earn that money. And most companies are so gripped by their litigation-based realities that they're not embracing the future of the whole person. So the great thing for me in my work, the only great thing I can really see out of COVID, I mean, because we already had a Zoom embedded in our platform, is that more people around the world got to work with each other and meet their husbands and their wives and their teenagers and their dogs and their cats and their dirty dishes and their actual life. So the future of work is, and Brene, I'm going to just tell you, it's not vulnerability, it's courage. It hasn't been my vulnerability that's done this. It's been my courage to share my whole life. Now you might say, well, courage takes vulnerability. I'm just going to tell you, courage is courage. It takes heart. You have to love the people that you're sharing with more than your fear to tell them what you actually want for work, because it's going to feel like you have to please them. So if you want to learn more about how to stop pleasing people, we wrote an article about that a couple months ago that's in Fast Company called 3 Ways to Stop Pleasing People. And basically that is to partner with the purpose, not the personality. See, so many of us were trained to please people, placate their personality, get them to think that we're going to just do what they want, when really what people want is they want someone who has courage to speak to them, to give them guidance, to honor them, to support them in their vision and goals, and to move forward on this planet together. And that, I am saying, is the future of work. Now, there's going to be some companies and places that are more progressive in that, but essentially anybody on this line, anybody listening to this recording, now we're going to go into the supernatural. So corporate people, hold on to your panties, okay? We're going to go slightly into the supernatural. Anybody listening to this call, anybody finding someone as peculiar as me through all the bits and pieces of LinkedIn or wherever you have, I want to assert that you chose to be here now. You chose to be on the earth when we're making this big transformation, not only in our energy systems, but how we lead. We are indeed moving from fear to another form of work. And I'm going to tell you the words. I'm going to tell you the F word. The F word for the future of work is the future and forgiveness. Now, forgiveness doesn't mean condoning, but look, if you want to be able to know the difference between people that can grow and learn, they're the people that can forgive and go, okay, well, because they're the people that will be able to say, look, here's what didn't work, let's learn from it and go. So forgiveness and failure is what makes a powerful organization. But if it's too rigid to do that, it won't work. All right, that's what I wanted to say. We're about halfway through. So that's a sense of what I see is the landscape of the future of work, is that your capacity to have the courage to not only leap from here to there and write your vision, but then to share it with prospective clients, with prospective employers, is the future. Now, that might take new communication skills. For the younger people, it might not. You might already be in that place where you can simply say, here's who I am, here's where I want to be. This is what I'd like to have happen, not only for me, but for the organization. You know, whenever I meet somebody who's a vision builder, I'm always so excited. And it is a learnable skill, and we are the best place on planet Earth to learn that skill. Some people think, oh, well, she's a visionary. She just was born being able to do that. No, it's a discipline. And it's a discipline that you apply just like anything. Playing the piano, learning how to play soccer, you know, spending time hitting the goals of soccer. So it's something anybody can learn. And what we've dedicated Lightyear to is to democratize these world-class skills so that you or any of your friends at any time can be part of the community, be part of Power My Future, our free program that allows you to build your profile, learn from other people on light hours similar to this, and grow the life that you came to grow. So now I'm going to switch things over to all of you having the opportunity. You know, here's what I love to do in Community Light Hours is ask people to share, and those could be done through, you know, raising your digital hand just so I can see you. I like to work with people who are a little bit stuck first and they need something. They either need some inspiration or some tools or the next step before, you know, we celebrate the people that are moving forward. So if you have a client, or if you are the person that wants like a new way to think about your own future or about the future of work as it applies to the things that you've done in the past, I'd actually love to hear from you first, because I feel it will support all of us. And that's how I prefer to work. So I'd love to hear from Sharni first, and bring your hands up when you're ready. Okay, Sharni, what are you seeing and facing?
I think I mean, you've been on such a journey with me. A lot of you have. My question always comes back to is like, I feel like I see the vision.
Yes.
Like I see it. And then the part that I find challenging is then bringing the people along that don't see it or can't see it or don't want to see it. And then that's the glitch, that's the tension that is just living side by side.
Okay, great. So Sharni, permission to coach you with specifics?
Yes.
Okay, so is this more in the family or in the teams you're leading at work? Where is it showing up?
Yeah, at Hatch.
Okay. So Sharni lives in Melbourne. She's a leader in an organization there, and it's awesome. And the question is, how do you bring people along? So now, are these also people that some of which you've taken through Personal Legacy when you were doing your coach training? Is it sort of a mixed? Kind of tell me about the.
Yeah, it's more like the executive team. So I'm on the executive team. And Like the team of Hatch, the people, the humans of Hatch are the visionaries. They're younger, they see it, they want to do it, they feel it, they want to be a part of it. This is like the exec team that is, you know, sits above the top of the organization that I'm a part of, that I find that glitchiness with.
Okay. Okay, great. So give us a scenario of, so you're like, what's an actual specific about a vision, and then you hear an actual specific glitch.
Let me go back, have a think about which one.
Yeah, no, this is great. She's helping all of us.
I mean, there's been conversations around like the future of work, where we had a whole weekend away, and you know, the business directors that are kind of the leaders within the business, the next kind of level down, like we took them away and did this amazing weekend and workshops, and they came up, like I took them through like, what do you want the vision of the company to look like in 10 years, and then took it back to the exec team and was so excited and so all for what you know, just the goal that they had given us. But it's just kind of almost like it's not being bought into, and
okay.
it just, you know.
Let me ask a couple questions. So you had this group of people, you did an in-person, they formulated some aspects of a vision, and then there's the executive folks, and they weren't necessarily part of it. Is that correct?
No,
Okay.
They weren't part of it, but I was presenting back to them of everything that all the, you know, the amazing richness that we'd come up with on that weekend.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So when you went to go present this to these folks, it felt a little glitchy, and it felt like they didn't maybe hear it.
Yeah, like, and I was so in it, I was all for it, and it just, you know, it just like it's like climbing up the cliff, and then it just like falls off the other end of the side of the cliff.
Okay, aren't you so glad you've experienced that?
Yeah.
No, look at her. So, okay, here's the thing. To stay right with me, Sharni.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone listening to this call is an agent of transformation. You will get your rewards from me and eventually from the people out in the world. But I want to let you all know that resilience is your friend, and courage. So now, let's just talk structurally about what you can do. So this happened pretty recently, right?
It was about a year ago.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
We can represence it.
Yeah, it keeps coming up in other, you know, it's the same behavior and just in other scenarios. So it just, you know, top, cliff, pew. Top, cliff, pew.
So now we need a new picture. We need a new picture for you. So let me just listen on exactly how to say it for them. Because I got to tell you what, Sharni, the people that run your company are good people.
Oh, yeah.
And they just don't yet see what you see.
Mm.
So that doesn't equal stop saying it and seeing it. All it means, fortunately, is that you're in the steep curve of learning how to include people in a vision.
Mm.
This is your current learning. Now, you had an expectation of how it would go. What was the expectation that led to disappointment?
That some of the initiatives would be recognized and I would be given an opportunity to implement them. Like, yes. I would be able to project task some of it and be given the autonomy and the mastery of just like getting on with some of it and just running with some of it, and then being able to show the people that we take it on the workshop that things were in motion. And so I
Yes.
feel like I got it kind of at both ends, you know, like the exec team. And then I felt like I wasn't staying integral to the people that I'd taken on the workshop, to the things that they were asking and the vision of the company.
Okay, great. This kind of thing happens. Everyone, this is what we talk about in Lightyear. This is organizational transformation. You need to get really, I'm going to tell you, Charney, I am so in your front row. You're going to need to get great at staying in it, even when the feedback, when the messages are seemingly out of alignment. So the way to do that is to change a way that you perceive the executive team.
Mm-hmm.
They need you to take the hammer and break out of the snow globe called the executive team is X. So your current accidental view of the executive team is what? That they, and it's not necessarily flattering.
It's something around, like, what I hear is that they're right, that they know better, that they, you know,
Okay. So a couple of things are happening. So who you are is that they know better, and what you had wasn't what was needed. I don't think so, though. Exactly.
No.
Who you are that they are is what. So here, I'll give her an example. So like when I was coaching, we had a company I was working with. They brought in Harvard level professional management. Company had gone public, and you know all the people that have worked really hard, like you know. And so who they were that those people were was they don't listen. Those are the people that don't listen. Okay. So for them, when I coached them, we shifted it to those are the people that do listen. And I learned how to be listened to. Because as soon as this one individual felt like she wasn't listened to, she's just like, well, I must not know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not sure if that's yours, but it's something close. So who you are that they are is they muhahiha. What is it?
Yeah. Well, they're dismissive.
Yeah. They're dismissive and
righteous.
Okay. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
No, are they? See, what if maybe, now watch everybody, I want to teach. And I want Charney to stay there because who I am is that she has a breakthrough at this place. So are they? Maybe, maybe not. See, because the big switch you want to turn, and I'm doing the collective view, is from expectation to possibility. So what if it was your labeling that they're dismissive? And what was your other word? Dismissive and
righteous.
Righteous. What if they're not? And what if they're not a group? What if they're individuals? Okay. So now go in your mind's eye and see those folks again, because this was a year ago. Okay. Now I love Charney because she's always like willing to go. Get your hammer out. Okay. Now we're going to break your snow globe. Break your snow globe.
Okay.
No, break your snow globe, girl. Get your hammer. Don't make me do it all. Okay. Break your snow globe. Because you've been in the snow globe. Who they are is dismissive and righteous. And who I am is I didn't get the thing done and it's glitchy. So now the snow globe's open. So now that you've destroyed that on purpose, because none of that was serving you, what's possible for you now? Like, it's been a year. You could go back and say what?
So what's possible now is
two things.
Like, what the thing that I just hear is like, just keep doing it. Like, just keep doing it. Like, doing it my way, the way, well, not my way, but doing it the way, the visionary way, the way that I, and just stay in that, like, stay there. Don't come back here.
Right. Right, because when you come back here into the dismissive and righteous, there's no transformation that gets to happen for them. See, because if you stop your own growth, they don't get to see. See, because we're all about the intergenerational transformation. Now, just hold on. If I play a song, Hunter, does that mean we can't put it on YouTube because I don't have the music rights?
I can take out the song.
Okay, because I want you to hear a song, Sharni, that's going to help you, and it's going to help everybody understand a little bit about the future of work. So hold on just a second. It's right here, and this is the song. This is for you. Can you hear it? This is for everyone. This is called Futures by Darling Stud.
A future moment
Disappeared.
A future ringing in my
ears. I hear you calling. I hear you calling. I can see something.
Radio future waves transmit my future message, president, and she tries to tell me.
Here's the message.
It's not ever too, it's not ever too, it's not ever too late. It's not ever too, it's not ever too, it's not ever too
What?
late. It's not ever too
late. Because that's what goes on in the mind, and then we stop.
Through future forests and the sea, my future dog is walking me.
My future dog is walking me. My future home. Oh, those guys on the board. They understand.
Bikini snowbirds like acetylene.
Now, why we use music in Lightyear is so that when she's about to give up, she'll say to herself, it's not ever. It's not ever. It's not ever too late for me or for them.
It's not ever too, it's not ever too, it's not ever too late. It's not ever too,
It's not ever too late.
too late.
This is one of the big incorrect beliefs we have. It's too late.
It's not
Time is on our side.
ever too
It's never too late to forgive. It's never too late to have courage. It's never too late to go at it again.
A future dawning of the day. It's never here and never goes away.
I think the song would end here, but it's just this quiet little part. And this is what it keeps putting in. I want you to feel this lightness, Sharni. Like, oh, of course, not everyone sees what I see. And I can keep sharing it. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It's a skill that they're learning. And it's not, they're not too old. It's not too late. The future is always possible for us.
It's not ever too, it's not ever too, it's not ever too late. It's not ever too late.
It's nothing like a banjo to remember. Because it won't be on light hours. It will be when she needs to go back to them and say, look, it's been a year since we had our visioning meeting. I'm really sensing it's time to come together on a whole new level. That's the future of work. intra-level intelligence, new kinds of listening. Maybe you introduce the idea of the talking stick. Who knows? Bring in an indigenous pattern from the Aboriginal wisdom of your nation. You'll know, and they'll go, oh my God, we hired that woman. See, they're waiting to be surprised and delighted by what's not currently possible. Now, Sharni, thank you for listening. Now, instead of how it had been before, dismissive and righteous, what's possible? What's possible that you could be that they are? They could be free. Yeah. And what else? They could be interested. Like, what is it? Curious?
Energized?
Yeah. And you see, they're going to take their lead from you. Now, look, Sharni, there might be a day where you say, I'm going to step out and I'm going to do something else. The coaching that I always give people of any age is, while you are somewhere, I'm going to say this to Andrew because he used to always laugh, when you were at Drift, like, you could talk to Andrew forever about that. But when, love the one you're with. Until you're not there, serve the highest purpose you can, because that's the rainbow bridge that will take you to the next place and guide you, versus getting stuck in any kind of judgment towards a situation. So now, before we shift off, first of all, huge thank you for a real situation. Now, what do you sense for you to do and be that could give you new freedom in this arena of the future of work is the future?
Like, I feel, I hear myself just say, just keep being the visionary.
Yeah. And now, just between you and me, one day, if one of them says the vision back to you and says they thought about it,
yes,
and it's theirs, what do you do? I'm gonna help you.
Help me.
Say good job.
Yeah, celebrate it.
Celebrate it. Because if I'm here to give you credit, if you want it from them, they won't know how to do both at the same time yet. We are in a one-room schoolhouse, people, with human beings of all different levels of evolution. And if you punish people by wanting them to congratulate you for what they think is their idea, even if they're a man and you're a woman, it just isn't going to make you feel good. And I just want you to know, I'll know forever and ever and ever, and this will be on YouTube until YouTube is destroyed, which it won't be, because there's no apocalypse. We're going to be fine. Okay. and you'll know. And it could be later on, 10 years later, they'll go like, wow, Sharni, you really were the one. But I want you, see, one of the skills that many of you need is to have the self-leadership, self-validating capacities, so that you are not reliant on the people that you work for to validate your genius. Your genius needs to be a self-validating, self-fulfilling flywheel of power, because what you're up to on this planet is greater than that specific company. Amen. That's right. That's my Sharni. Okay, you guys, give it up for her. Clap at her. We got to give that woman some hearts and some, I don't know, Australian stars. Okay, great. So now let's land the call by having at least another 2 or 3 people comment on what they're seeing for their life, what they're seeing they could take forward. See how it's valuable to work with somebody who's got an actual situation. And now we can do a bit of reflection here. So yeah, please, Rachel. I saw you say, I'm dealing with that too.
Yeah, I just really resonated. Thank you, Sharni. It was super helpful, because I feel that in my workplace, where we come in with ideas and then I go I think we're all on the same page to deliver it. And then it's just like constantly hit with roadblocks or we get nowhere. And what I'm realizing though is change the way I perceive them.
Yes.
And I need to write I need to decide I need a new vision of how I see them. And that's going to help me. I'm not going to feel stuck, and it's going to refresh me every time that I do get into something where I feel like, why am I here? What's my purpose? But it starts with me. I need to see a new.
And do you have a sense of what that may be? Now, I recall you doing that with Carrie. I recall the moment where you really flipped and started to see something there in a new way. Now, this might be other and different people. And in Get There Now, it was the most poignant scene I could write, but it's the one where I'm likely your age. I'm in the basement of the Atomic Energy Commission, and I'm seeing all the mushroom clouds, and I'm kind of sick to my stomach. And I go home, and that's when I'll say wisdom visits me. And wisdom says, stop judging those men, Susanne. They believed they were protecting your country. They created atomic weapons. That's what they needed to do in World War II. Now begin to partner with them and be their ally in whatever next step the country needs, which was actually the cleanup of nuclear weapons, because I wasn't able to do it with the kind of, honestly, I think the title is called Judge Not, but I had a kind of hatred. Now, you don't have that, but I did it that night and went back a changed woman. Now, for you, what could the shift be? Because I sense it's more from frustration to something.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, that's exactly it. Frustration to
Your students, who are they? People learning?
Yeah, I think there's needs to be a level of forgiveness, because they only know what they've been taught.
That's right.
They only know what they've been taught.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Yes, and they've been taught by the generations before, and for them to be able to release that way of working, they'd need to see you and also be in the space. Now, I know this seems very non-corporate, but in this space of, let's call it an unconditionalness. I've made it with Rachel. It's safe for me to be myself. So it's safe for me to learn from her. See, because same with Shardy, if they detect, and this doesn't have to happen in language, it happens through the human emotional field. Like if a person detects that they're being perceived as dismissive and righteous, or if a person perceives that they're being perceived as frustrating, their patterns correlate to the perception.
Mm.
So that's the future of work. You're like, wait, where's the magic wand for the frustrating people? Because, yeah. Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you.
That's so great. That's so great. You're so great, everybody. Yeah. So I would like to land our conversation with the idea that I'm going to continue the next two sessions in a similar vein. They'll be recorded for people that need to do other things. One will happen at this same time on Tuesday, May 10th. And then I believe I'm doing one in the morning on May 18th, which is actually my sister's birthday. And if she were still alive, we would be celebrating my birthday with her. But there's this thing where I feel like I want the future of work also to be about celebrating our whole lives and bringing everything into it. There's a way where, when I talked about having new communication skills as part of your future, that's really where I feel many of you are going to be. You're going to be the early experimenters. You're going to be the ones that bring a new idea in a way that the person doesn't have to protect and defend themselves. Because of course they've had to protect and defend themselves their whole life. Because most people, as I said earlier, were raised where the economy actually mimicked the earlier historical patterns of slavery, colonialism, and all of that tough stuff. It's going to take a little while to unwind that, but you're the people. And this is what we do, and that's the future of work. And I would love anybody that wants to book a call with the Lightyear team to learn more about what we do. We just share with you what's up. So for instance, tomorrow, our Chief Success Officer, Nancy Perry, will be leading Light Hours for members. And that's available for us to talk through things like that. And then there's also all kinds of wonderful courses. So if you want to begin your path to learn about the future of work, let's see, I'd love to have in the last minute, have somebody ask me, maybe even somebody new, what's one thing that could help me right now, Susanne, that you maybe haven't said or that you want to remind me of? Who would love to just ask that question? That's a new person, or some question like that. I'd love to just help somebody right now in the last 30 seconds. I'm a patient woman. Yeah, hi. Hey, Paula.
Shut my office door here. I own a gym and I'm doing this at the gym, so it's a little bit chaotic, but I can make this work.
Thank you for owning a gym, Paula.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I feel like coming out of COVID, my vision is skewed. So like what tools do you use to create your vision? I know 30 seconds is not enough, but.
Yeah, so I'm gonna ask Hunter to do a follow-up for us, whether it's an email or if you post it on Instagram. Hunter, please put our little audio clip called Remembering the Future for Paula and anyone else. It's like 7 minutes. And what it does is it helps a person get to there more easily. And if you listen to that, I think it'll really help you, because what you're saying, you're exactly the person I want to help. It's the person who, like COVID it's done something to all of us that's probably beneficial, but it's also put us in these snow globes where we somewhat forget the momentum of the goals that we had before. So I want you to listen to that podcast, and I want you to also recall right now with us listening, and I know it's 1 minute after, but just recall one of your most beloved dreams that started to fade over the last 2 years and 3 months, and just tell us, and then we can just cheer for you. What's one of your most favorite dreams that started to fade, Paula?
I guess helping people be their best.
Yes. Okay. So now put it on a sticky pad and get it on your mirror tonight. And know that you were created for that. Not only that, but for sure that. And do not let any pandemic or anyone allow you to forget that. Because that was part of what was going on with that snow globe. Okay? Good job, you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody. Hopefully we'll get to see some of you on Tuesday. Thanks, Hunter, for the follow-up. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So great. Okay, let's come off mute and say goodbye. That's what we do.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Go to dinner for the triathletes.
Bye.